right, baby, let's hear it.
First, the Mediterranean Sea. You can tell because it's labeled right here. And also right here. And also right here. It's the same body of water. Let's talk more about labeling bodies of water. In North America, we have the 5 Great Lakes. Superior, Lake Michigan, L. Huron, Lake Erie, and L. Ontario. Okay? We've established a visual language here that lakes there are going to have an italic font of a dark burnt orange, and the lake itself is going to be a solid object, more of like an orange tan, salmon orange? I don't really know. Either way, that rule is immediately broken once we cross the prime meridian going east here, because we have Lake Ladoga up here in Russia with a dark orange outline around it and a lake name that is not in italics and maybe isn't the same font. It's hard to say. Here we have the lakes region with a bunch of unlabeled lakes with borders around them. So clearly there's not a rule about when to label a lake with a border and without a border around it. But if we look down at Lake Victoria in Africa, no border around it. What's the difference between these two? Something about Europe requires that there be thicker lines. We have thicker lines around coastal areas along the ocean. For instance, that is what makes the United Kingdom illegible to read. There are dark black lines over everything. But we clearly don't need to have dark black lines because Spain has very thin black lines going around it. So what's the rule? Is it just countries that are entirely surrounded by oceanic water? That doesn't make sense, because if we go to Alaska, in the middle of the state, there is just this giant dark outlined shape. It could be a road. Roads are often in North America marked with thick black lines. Some of them aren't. Sometimes there's bodies of water that are marked with black lines. I know that there was not this highway around Lake Erie going over here. Let's talk about labeling countries. So, some countries, understandably, are labeled with the nation that I assume commands it, rules it, colonized it. You know, we have Hawaii, USA, Alaska, USA. We also have Greenland, Denmark up there. There's one over here. Canary is Spain. If you'll notice, Canary is an abbreviation of the word island. Another place where we could have done this is with Mansell Island up here in Hudson Bay in Canada, but instead we just said Mansell I dot. We did the same thing for Coates I, which, as you can see or calculate yourself, is only 6 letters long. Southampton, which is significantly more, gets the full island treatment. So straits are in italics. Islands clearly are not in italics, except for up here. Baffin Island is in italics. Davis Strait is in italics, but Baffin Bay is not in italics. Let's look at another bay. We have Bay of Bengal here, between Myanmar and India, which is marked in this very thick dark orange that is not used anywhere else. Could have been used in Australia, but we cross Australia off right here at this time zone that I marked here with a thick black line, which again has no reasoning for when it is being used. Here is half of Greece marked with thick black lines, the rest of which is marked with a perfectly readable, oh my god, I found something else. What is Peloponnesus? Is that a region? Is that a state? Is that a city within Greece? Mind you, Greece is not marked. We've only marked Athens, a very famous city, and Thessalonica, not as famous of a city. Naples isn't Greece. What's the other big Greece thing? Anyways, but why is Peloponnesus in this like serif font. Everything else is in sort of this like Helvetica, Verdana, very like sans serif strong map-like font. But Peloponnesus is here times fucking New Roman. What's that supposed to mean? There's nothing else that's marked in that except for Sahara. We don't say Sahara Desert, but we do say the Libyan Desert. Sometimes we mark just regions, like Tripolitania right here. We also mark the Great Western and the Great Eastern Erg right next to each other. There's a lot of over-labeling as we started out with the Mediterranean Sea, so I'll close out here with some other examples of over-labeling. This is the Atlantic Ocean. There's not a lot of oceans. This is just one of the 4. So they put it in really big letters, but we accidentally put an X on it. If you're wondering what that X is for, it kind of fits in with that T, that E, and that H, and that J. They don't spell anything. They're not in a specific order. Just reminding you that letters exist along with certain animals that live in certain places. So this is the Atlantic Ocean, but we kind of fucked that one up by putting the X. So we just want to remind you that this is the North Atlantic Ocean, the north part of this Atlantic Ocean. In case you didn't see that, we just put it right the fuck again right next to it. But what is this, like the North Atlantic Ocean? What is the larger body? Oh, it's also the Atlantic Ocean. We labeled it 4 times. And if you look down here, there's South Atlantic Ocean. Nope, sorry, it just says the word south. There's nothing after it. So this is the North Atlantic Ocean. That's also the North Atlantic Ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean, and just south.